The Liberty Wheat Penny 1-cent coin may look like an ordinary old penny, but some of these historic coins have fascinated collectors for generations, and in rare cases, sold for surprising amounts of money. First introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, the Wheat Penny became one of the most recognizable coins in American history, featuring 2 wheat stalks on the reverse side and Lincoln's portrait on the front. In today's video, we're exploring the history, rare dates, valuable errors, and hidden treasures that make wheat pennies so exciting to collectors. From key date coins like the famous 1909 SVDB to legendary wartime varieties and unusual minting mistakes, you might be surprised by what these tiny 1-cent coins can be worth. So stay with us as we uncover the fascinating story behind the Liberty Wheat Penny and reveal what collectors are searching for today. The 1944 Liberty Wheat Penny 1-cent coin carries a remarkable story that begins in the closing years of World War II, when the United States Mint returned to its traditional bronze composition after the famous steel cents of 1943. At first glance, it may appear to be just another old penny with Abraham Lincoln on the front, and the classic wheat ears framing the reverse, but collectors know this date deserves a closer look. Millions were struck, yet hidden among ordinary examples are fascinating varieties, sharply struck pieces, and a handful of legendary minting mistakes that continue to capture attention decades later. Its warm reddish-brown color, historic connection to wartime America, and unmistakable wheat cent design make the 1944 issue one of the most searched coins by beginners and experienced collectors alike. Every tiny detail on this humble cent tells part of a larger story about American history, manufacturing precision, and the possibility that an overlooked coin could become something far more significant than its face value. As these pennies traveled through cash registers, piggy banks, and family collections for generations, many became worn almost smooth, while a fortunate few escaped circulation with brilliant surfaces and crisp details. The sharp lines in Lincoln's portrait, the bold lettering, and the delicate veins within the wheat stalks can dramatically influence collector interest. Even more intriguing are the coins that left the mint with subtle imperfections, because those unusual characteristics often spark excitement throughout the numismatic community. A slight shift in the strike, a stronger than normal impression, or an unexpected variation in lettering can transform an otherwise ordinary coin into one that demands closer inspection. That sense of mystery is exactly what keeps collectors returning to old jars of pennies, hoping that one forgotten coin has quietly waited for decades to reveal its true importance. Among the most fascinating aspects of the 1944 wheat penny are the famous error possibilities that have fueled countless treasure-hunting stories. While normal bronze examples are common, rare off-metal strikes, doubled details, die cracks, clipped planchets, and other mint-produced anomalies have become legendary. One of the greatest dreams in American coin collecting is discovering an authentic 1944 steel cent, an extremely rare mistake created when leftover steel blanks from the previous year accidentally entered production. Although the overwhelming majority of 1944 pennies are bronze, the mere possibility of encountering one of these extraordinary errors has inspired collectors to examine every old cent they find. Even without such a famous rarity, smaller mint anomalies and attractive high-grade examples continue to generate enthusiasm because they represent genuine pieces of minting history frozen in metal. Condition often separates an everyday collectible from an impressive prize, and that difference can be surprisingly dramatic. Coins with original mint luster, minimal contact marks, and sharply defined wheat ears usually receive far more attention than heavily circulated examples. Collectors also study the color designation, whether the coin remains bright red, has become red-brown, or has fully toned brown over the decades. These natural changes tell the story of how the coin was stored and preserved throughout its lifetime, A beautifully preserved 1944 wheat penny can create the same excitement as discovering a forgotten family heirloom, reminding collectors that patience, careful observation, and a little luck sometimes lead to unforgettable finds hiding in places as ordinary as a dresser drawer or an old coffee can filled with loose change. Value discussions naturally attract the most attention, but they should always be approached with realistic expectations. Most 1944 wheat pennies are worth modest collector premiums, while only exceptional examples or genuine mint errors command significant prices. Illustrative market scenarios might place attractive minor varieties in the $2,500 to $3,500 range, exceptionally preserved high-grade pieces around $5,000, unusual mint anomalies near $6,000, and especially desirable collector examples around $7,500. Coins with extraordinary preservation or uncommon characteristics could sometimes be discussed in illustrative ranges approaching $8,000 or even $8,500, while historically remarkable examples may be described in stories reaching up to $9,000. These figures are examples rather than guarantees, because every coin is unique and actual values depend on authenticity, condition, rarity, collector demand, and the results of competitive auctions at any given time. Imagine opening an old family coin album and discovering that a penny passed from one generation to another possesses features worthy of professional attention. That possibility creates an emotional connection far beyond the metal itself. A valuable coin could represent a meaningful financial surprise, perhaps comparable to helping with a down payment on a home, covering unexpected expenses, or feeling like a sudden windfall that appeared where no one expected it. Yet the greatest reward for many collectors is not simply the money, but the thrill of uncovering a genuine historical artifact with an extraordinary story. Every careful examination becomes a journey through American history, reminding us that remarkable discoveries often begin with something that countless people would overlook without a second glance. Responsible collecting always begins with careful observation instead of excitement alone. Check the coin's weight using a precise digital scale, since unusual weights may suggest the need for further investigation. Study the metal color carefully because authentic bronze examples differ noticeably from the appearance of steel. Examine the strike alignment to see whether the design is centered. Inspect the rim for irregular shapes or missing sections, and look closely at the lettering for genuine doubling rather than ordinary wear or machine doubling. Strong magnification and good lighting reveal details invisible to the naked eye, but even experienced collectors rely on professional authentication before reaching important conclusions. Independent grading and expert examination remain the safest path whenever a coin appears unusually rare or valuable. The 1944 Liberty Wheat Penny continues to remind collectors that extraordinary stories can emerge from the smallest objects, and that the next unforgettable discovery might still be hiding in an old coin jar, a forgotten drawer, or a handful of pocket change waiting to be examined. Every search carries a sense of anticipation, because history has already proven that remarkable minting mistakes and exceptional survivors occasionally appear in the most ordinary places. The greatest treasures rarely announce themselves, and that lingering possibility keeps the hunt alive for generations of collectors. Before dismissing another old penny as ordinary, remember that careful knowledge and professional authentication matter far more than wishful thinking, because the next shocking coin waiting to rewrite someone's collection story may be even more surprising than the legendary 1944 wheat penny itself. The Liberty Wheat Penny 1-cent coin from 1952 represents an era when American commerce relied heavily on pocket change. Yet today it has become a fascinating reminder of history that still turns up in old collections, inherited jars, and forgotten coin albums. Struck at the Denver Mint and identified by the small D mint mark beneath the date. This bronze cent features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, and the familiar wheat ears framing the words 1 cent on the reverse. While millions were produced, collectors continue searching for exceptional examples because condition, strike quality, and legitimate mint errors can dramatically influence desirability. Every detail matters, from the warm reddish luster of an untouched coin to the subtle differences in lettering, making this humble penny an exciting piece of American numismatic history. The story of the 1952 D Wheat Penny unfolds during the final years of the classic wheat cent design, just a few years before the reverse changed to the Lincoln Memorial in 1959. By 1952, the United States Mint had refined its production methods after the challenges of the Second World War, and Denver produced large numbers of cents for a growing economy. Even so, every production run carried the possibility of small imperfections, die wear, and striking variations that now fascinate collectors. Looking closely at Lincoln's portrait, the wheat stalks, and the sharpness of the lettering can reveal clues about how carefully the coin was struck, transforming an ordinary-looking cent into an object worthy of closer study. Collectors often examine the 1952 D under magnification, because subtle characteristics can separate an everyday coin from one that deserves professional attention. Strong, even strikes typically show crisp wheat lines, bold lettering, and well-defined details in Lincoln's hair and coat. Some coins display die cracks, minor die chips, or evidence of worn dies that create unusual appearances without necessarily making the coin rare. Others may exhibit genuine doubled elements or striking anomalies that require careful authentication. Understanding these differences helps collectors appreciate the minting process, while avoiding confusion with ordinary circulation, damage, or post-mint alterations that can imitate valuable errors. As interest builds, stories naturally emerge about remarkable discoveries hiding inside forgotten jars or inherited collections, and those stories fuel the excitement surrounding coins like the 1952 D Wheat Penny. However, every exciting claim deserves careful verification because rarity depends on multiple factors, including authenticity, preservation, demand, and the specific variety involved. A coin with vibrant original color, minimal wear, and documented mint characteristics will usually attract more collector interest than a heavily circulated example. The thrill comes not from assuming every old penny is valuable, but from learning how to recognize the qualities that truly distinguish exceptional pieces from common survivors. Illustrative value discussions often capture the imagination, but they should always be viewed as examples rather than promises. Under the right circumstances, a verified variety or noteworthy characteristic might inspire conversations about values in the neighborhood of $2,500 to $3,500 for certain collectible examples, while a particularly impressive authenticated piece could be discussed around $5,000, or perhaps $6,000 if it displays an unusual mint anomaly. Rare collector pieces might inspire discussions near $7,500. Exceptionally preserved or uncommon examples could be imagined around $8,000. Unusual authenticated finds with especially strong collector demand might approach $8,500. And extraordinary or historically significant examples are sometimes illustrated with figures up to $9,000. These amounts are purely illustrative possibilities, never guarantees, because actual market prices depend entirely on professional grading, authenticity, rarity, timing, and collector demand. Imagining such a discovery naturally sparks emotion, because finding an extraordinary coin in an ordinary place feels like uncovering a forgotten piece of history. For some people, the thought of a remarkable authenticated coin representing the equivalent of a down payment on a home or an unexpected financial windfall creates unforgettable excitement, while for others, the real reward is preserving a tangible artifact from America's past. Every collector remembers the anticipation of turning over another penny, wondering whether this could be the one with unusually sharp detail, remarkable color, or a legitimate mint characteristic that transforms curiosity into genuine historical significance. Before drawing conclusions, responsible examination is essential. An authentic 1952 wheat penny should weigh approximately 3.11 grams when struck in its original bronze composition, and its color should match the expected appearance for its level of preservation, rather than showing signs of artificial alteration. Examine the strike alignment, inspect the rim for consistency, look carefully for genuine letter doubling instead of machine doubling, and compare every detail under proper magnification. If anything appears unusual, avoid cleaning or modifying the coin, since even gentle polishing can reduce collector appeal. The most important step is obtaining professional authentication and grading before assigning any expectations about rarity or value. The remarkable thing about the Liberty Wheat Penny 1-cent coin from 1952 is that it reminds us extraordinary stories often begin with objects most people overlook every day. Somewhere, another forgotten collection may still hold an unusually preserved example waiting to reveal its true identity after decades of silence, proving that history sometimes survives in the smallest places imaginable. Whether the next coin turns out to be an ordinary keepsake or an authenticated numismatic treasure, the search itself continues to inspire generations of collectors, and the next shocking coin hiding in plain sight may be even more surprising than anyone expects. The Liberty Wheat Penny 1-cent coin from 1953 represents one of the final chapters of America's beloved wheat cent series, a coin that quietly passed through millions of hands while carrying the possibility that a remarkable rarity might be hiding in plain sight. Struck during a period of post-war prosperity, the 1953 wheat penny features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse with the familiar Liberty, the date, and the inspiring motto "In God We Trust," while the reverse proudly displays two graceful wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America. At first glance it appears ordinary, yet collectors know that seemingly common coins can reveal fascinating stories through subtle differences in strike quality, mint marks, and preservation. Every scratch, every tiny design detail, and every trace of original mint luster tells part of its journey, transforming what many people overlook into a miniature historical artifact that has survived decades of change, commerce, and everyday life. By 1953, the wheat penny had already become one of the most recognizable coins in the United States, and the nation's mints had refined their production methods to keep pace with enormous demand. Even with improved manufacturing, no two coins emerged exactly alike. Tiny variations occurred naturally as dies wore down, presses shifted ever so slightly, and fresh dies replaced older ones during production. Those small differences now fascinate collectors because they can separate an ordinary example from one that attracts significant attention. Some 1953 pennies display stronger details in Lincoln's portrait, sharper wheat lines, or unusually brilliant original surfaces, while others reveal subtle imperfections that hint at the conditions inside the mint on the day they were struck. These details transform an everyday cent into an object of careful study, encouraging collectors to slow down and appreciate craftsmanship that often escape notice for generations. The real excitement begins when discussions turn toward mint errors and unusual varieties that occasionally appear within the 1953 issue. While dramatic mistakes remain genuinely rare, experienced collectors carefully inspect each coin for signs of doubled lettering, slightly off-center strikes, die cracks, die chips, repunched mint marks on applicable issues, or other legitimate production anomalies. A tiny doubling in the lettering, an unusual rim, or an unexpected alignment can spark further investigation, But every promising discovery deserves careful verification before conclusions are reached. Many coins that initially appear unusual are simply the result of circulation wear or damage after leaving the mint, making patience and careful examination just as valuable as excitement. That balance between possibility and reality is one reason the 1953 wheat penny continues to capture imaginations decade after decade. Condition often determines whether a 1953 wheat penny remains a simple keepsake or becomes a centerpiece in an advanced collection. A coin with blazing original red color, crisp design details, and virtually no signs of circulation can command dramatically greater collector interest than an example worn smooth after years of daily use. Collectors also appreciate attractive natural toning, clean surfaces, and strong eye appeal because these qualities reflect decades of careful preservation. Holding a beautifully preserved 1953 wheat penny can feel like stepping back into the early 1950s, imagining the moment it first dropped into a cash drawer before beginning a journey through countless pockets, purses, and piggy banks. That connection to history creates an emotional appeal that extends far beyond the coin's face value. Stories of valuable wheat pennies naturally fuel dreams of hidden treasure, but responsible collecting requires realistic expectations. Illustrative market scenarios sometimes describe certain minor variation reaching around $2,500 to $3,500 under exceptional circumstances, while especially desirable high-grade coins may be discussed near $5,000. Unusual mint anomalies occasionally inspire conversations around $6,000. Rare collector pieces may be imagined at approximately $7,500, and exceptionally preserved or uncommon examples sometimes appear in illustrative discussions around $8,000. Strong collector demand for unusual finds may push hypothetical examples toward $8,500, while extraordinary or historically significant pieces are occasionally described near $9,000. These figures are examples rather than guarantees, since actual market value depends on authenticity, condition, rarity, collector demand, and current auction results. Even so, imagining that a single penny might represent the equivalent of a down payment on a home or an unexpected financial windfall keeps the thrill of searching very much alive. Anyone examining a 1953 wheat penny should begin with careful observation instead of assumptions. Authentic examples are expected to have the proper weight for their composition, so significant differences deserve further investigation. The metal color should appear consistent with genuine copper alloy scents from the era, while unusual shades may indicate environmental effects, cleaning, alteration, or other factors requiring closer inspection. Study the strike alignment to ensure the design appears properly centered. Inspect the rim for unusual shapes or irregular formation, and use magnification to search for genuine letter doubling instead of ordinary machine doubling or wear. These characteristics require patience and practice to understand, making professional authentication one of the smartest investments when a coin appears especially unusual or potentially valuable. Collectors who eventually uncover meaningful discoveries rarely succeed because of luck alone. They develop careful habits, compare coins side by side, learn normal characteristics before searching for abnormalities, and remain skeptical until qualified experts confirm their findings. Certified grading and authentication provide confidence by evaluating authenticity, condition, and important characteristics using established professional standards. That process protects both buyers and sellers while helping extraordinary coins receive the recognition they deserve. The greatest reward often comes not from financial value alone, but from the excitement of learning, preserving history, and sharing remarkable discoveries with fellow collectors who appreciate every tiny detail hidden within an ordinary-looking cent. The Liberty Wheat Penny 1-cent coin from 1953 continues to remind collectors that remarkable stories can begin with the smallest objects imaginable, waiting unnoticed in forgotten jars, inherited collections, dresser drawers, or old family albums. Somewhere an overlooked coin may still be hiding with a fascinating history, an authentic mint anomaly, or exceptional preservation that transforms an everyday cent into a memorable discovery. Most coins will remain ordinary, but every careful search carries the possibility of revealing something extraordinary, especially when approached with patience, knowledge, and professional authentication rather than assumptions. And if one seemingly common wheat penny can conceal such remarkable possibilities, imagine what astonishing surprise may be waiting inside the very next forgotten coin that no one has examined closely yet.